Hi, it's Sherry Carroll here to bring you a couple ideas for holiday die cutting. I'll be showing you a couple ideas on how to use the little snowman with its matching die, and also how to create your own greeting using another die in a multiple way. If you're not familiar with our Stampin' Dies, how they work is you stamp your paper first, and the stamp that I'm using comes with this great set. Really versatile little snowman that you can use colored pencils or paints or your Copic markers or regular markers to color in, and then it has a matching die. So you stamp first and then you match up your die and you cut second. I've also created a little fold over tag, and I'll show you how I did this, and it's by using the die just a little bit more offset. So let's get started and I'll show you how I did these. So for single layer paper here, I have stamped my snowman first, and I've placed my die on top, and I use a painter's tape because it's a really nice repositionable tape, and then I run it through my die cut machine, and this is with a full platform between two of the spacers. And once you're done, you can just pop your snowman off and you have a perfect die cut around the image. So I've already stamped my snowman on a longer piece of paper, and here I'm just adding a little score line. I have marked it with a pencil so I knew where to score. And once I'm done creasing that, then I can go ahead and erase my pencil line. So once I have that cleaned up, I'll go ahead and run my bone folder across the crease to get it really crisp and flat. Okay, now I'm going to use my die cut, and I'm going to align this how I want it, and I always check a couple times before I actually put my tape in place, because I always find that I can get it aligned just a little bit better if I look a little closer. So once I have that aligned, I'll go ahead and put my painter's tape down, and without shifting my die, I'll put it in about 3 places. And here I want to show you that at the very top, and I'll kind of poke my fingernail through, that you can see that I've left that open, so that'll leave a fold. And now I'll run this through my die cut machine just like I do a single sheet of paper, and I don't know why, but I have my handle up at the top. So I'm running this through on a full platform between two of the spacers. And I'll go ahead and pull that out and I'll show you how this works. And I like to just pop my paper from the die first and leave that tape in place, and that just releases perfectly. And here you can see that cuts through 2 sheets of this is Nina paper, so it's an 80-pound card weight, so it comes out really nice. Next, I want to start working on my little greeting, and I'm going to use another tag. And so I have my die cut in place on the card where I want it to sit. And here's the greeting. I've cut it up. It was Snow Much Joy going in all horizontal. So I cut it so it kind of goes around the snowman's hat. And then I place it on my block. So here I'm just going to be inking this with Versamark ink, and then I'll be white embossing, and I'm using the Hero Arts grenadine paper, and it's really lovely. Also, if you notice, I've also colored in my snowman. I've just used colored pencils. I didn't do any really fancy coloring. I figured when you're doing holiday cards you probably don't want to do a lot of techniques, so this is just a quick way to color with pencils and make your holiday cards. So here I'm tapping on my white embossing powder and making sure I get all the extra little flecks off. And then I'll go ahead and use my heat gun and heat set this. Once I'm done heat setting this, then I'll go ahead and cut this in a strip. So I've cut out a white tag, and here I'm just kind of eyeballing how I want to cut my little strip out, and so I've gone ahead and cut the strip with the same die cut, and so then it matches side to side on the little white tag. And now I want to do some stamping on the white portion just to add a little bit more oomph. And this is a Studio Calico set, and I thought it would be really nice just to stamp on the top and the bottom using this nice kind of candy stripe looking stamp. So I'll go ahead and place this on my block. And I like to set it down on my surface first so then I don't bend it when I'm putting it on the block. And I'm using soft granite ink, and this is one of our new shadow stamp inks, and it's a really soft gray. So once I have that well inked, I can go ahead and stamp it onto my paper, and here I can see through really well. So I'm using that red line to line up the image, and I want to make sure side to side is lined up how I want it. So that's the beginning, and now I'll go ahead and re-ink again. And I'm just inking up a portion that I need. I'm not really inking up the whole stamp. And again, I'm lining up, making sure side to side has what I want when I go to ink that. Okay, and so now I want to fill in the top part. and this is where you get really gutsy, but go ahead and re-ink, and I'm going to clean this off a bit so that I don't transfer any of the ink. Actually, that was a wet wipe, so now I need to dry off just a little bit better. So I'll go ahead and place this down, and now I can really see how to line this up. So if you really wanted to do a really nice broad stripe, you can kind of see how that would go in the same order. So matching this up was actually really no problem. I'll wipe this up and show you. And that ink will blend in just perfectly. I always like to stamp a really nice background on my cardstock, and as you know me, I love white on craft. So here I'm just using our unicorn white ink and the chevron, and this is also another Studio Calico stamp, one of my favorite ones. And so I'll just go ahead and put my paper onto the stamp, and I'm lining up the top first before I press anything down. Once I have it lined up, I keep my hand in place and I grab a piece of scrap paper, and then I just rub the back of the paper. This way I don't shift my image around or my stamp or my paper. It just all stays in one place, and my fingers can run over the paper and get a really good impression. And here's how that looks. Another fun thing that I like to do for my holiday cards, and especially with the snowman that I'm using, is creating a snowbank. So I have a piece of cardstock here, just regular white cardstock, and I just freehand with my scissors and cut a swirl, or just a wave. And with the other paper, now I can flip this over, and that gives me a fun little double snowbank. And this will look really great once I get my pieces put together, and I can adjust that however I want. So I have my snowman here and my tag on top. So here's a look again at my finished card. I added a couple little strips to the bottom of my snowbank and some rock candy distress stickles. I also added a little cute white poinsettia to the hats with a brad. And then my little tag, I colored it just the same as the card snowman, and it's a little fold over. You could add a little string and put it on a gift. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to use your holiday die cuts. Thanks for watching.